Hello friends and welcome to this session for GATE and ESE Electrical Engineering. My friend, this session is going to be one of the most awesome session and you are going to really learn something very new and something that will help you in the exam. In the exam for GATE, may it be 2021 or it may be 2022. Now, before we start the lecture, my friend, let me introduce you myself. My name is Ankit Goyal. I got AIR 1 in GATE 2014 and GATE 2018. And my friend, I was also awarded the President of India Gold Medal by the President himself in the year 2013 when I graduated from IIT Indore. Presently, I am working as a director at Unacademy for GATE department, and that is why constantly I am able to bring new and more initiatives for you. Because Unacademy is not an institute. Unacademy is not a coaching. Unacademy is more of a revolution. Unacademy is more of a feeling. Unacademy has everything right that is wrong with every other coaching institute in the country. The name Unacademy, my friend, has been comprised of two words, un and academy. That means it has everything that is not there in an academy. So Unacademy cares about the student in the best way possible. It cares about the student most than or more than any other person can. All the initiatives are centered on the student. That is, they are always working towards the student welfare. And that is why, my friend, you are watching this course on power system. That is why, my friend, you are watching this course on power system free of cost on our YouTube channel. So, my friend, if you are visiting this channel for the first time, make sure that you have subscribed, because we have electrical machine, power electronics, power system, communication system, EMT, EDC, network, signal, control, digital, everything is here on this channel. That too free of cost, my friend. But what has Unacademy done? Unacademy has brought a revolution in the country where they are providing the most affordable education, and that too free of that too at the most affordable price as well as free of cost on YouTube. So my friend, if you want to be a part of the revolution that Unacademy has created by means of the courses that are running on Unacademy, where they are bringing you the best ever educators of the country on a single platform. That is, you, my friend, can be able to learn from India's top educator at the cheapest or at the most affordable prices possible. At the most affordable prices possible. Now, my friend, I'm talking to you. You can dare to dream. You can dare to enter a PSU. You can dare to dream about MTech from an IIT. Why? Because Unacademy has made it possible. Unacademy has done everything that is required to get the best rank in GATE examination. So my friend, if you want to join Unacademy, make sure that you use the code Ankit ESE, because the door to Unacademy opens with this code, and this directly makes me your mentor so that I can guide you at each and every step regarding your GATE preparation. And not only this, you will also get 10% discount on your subscription. Now, what does Unacademy bring for you? Not only the live classes. The live classes are the best part of Unacademy, where you can interact with the educator, ask your doubt, and make sure that you understand each and every concept and then only exit the class. But other than that, you get dedicated doubt session where you can post a pic of a question and ask any doubt, any number of doubts. Then you have weekly quizzes. Every Sunday we test how much you have understood. Then there are daily practice paper which we provide you for practice. Then there are practice questions from Unacademy. Then there are test series from Unacademy. Then there is crash course where we will boost your rank in the last few months. There is rank improvement batch for the students who have already done well in the GATE examination. Now, my friend, all of this just with one subscription fees, where you don't have to pay anything again and again or anything extra. That is the magic of Unacademy. Just join Unacademy without thinking too much.
Hi guys, in last lecture we started with the protective relaying. So I told you the basic of protective relays. What is meant by protective relays? Their basic function was to sense the abnormal condition and send the trip signal to the circuit breaker. Then we studied the concept of protective zone. There I told you protective zone is a part of power system which is protected by a certain protection scheme. Like alternator is protected by a different protection scheme as compared to alternator plus transformer. Then we studied about the primary and backup protection. Okay, and then I told you about the time grading principle by which we can ensure that one of the relays acts as a primary protection and the other acts as a backup protection. Then we studied about properties of relay like selectivity, discrimination, sensitivity, and speed and reliability. And last we saw two construction. One was attracted armature relay. The advantage was it is fast and it works for AC as well as DC. But the disadvantage was that the pickup current was fixed and it cannot be varied for different locations in the power system. Then we looked at balanced beam relay, which also worked on the same principle, but here operating current or pickup current depended on the restraining current, and hence the pickup current can be varied. In this lecture we will look at some of the other constructions of the relays. So the next construction that we study is called as induction disk relay. Now here the two terms, one is induction, other is disk. So they work on the principle of electromagnetic induction. And here we have a rotating disk which will rotate to bring the moving and the fixed contacts in touch with each other. Hence this is called as induction disk relay. Now how the torque is produced on the disk to rotate it. Here we will have two magnets or two fluxes. Let me call as phi 1 and phi 2, which will induce two EMF in the disk E1 and E2, which will cause two eddy currents I phi 1, I phi 2. Torque is produced by interaction of phi 1 is with I phi 2 and phi 2 with I phi 1. So when the flux or when a current carrying conductor is kept in a magnetic field, it will experience a torque, and hence the disk will experience a torque when it is kept in vicinity of a magnetic flux or a magnetic field phi 1 or phi 2. Okay. So there can be various construction of the induction disk type of relay. The first construction is called as shaded pole construction. Here we have a coil and a electromagnet. It is wound over a electromagnet here. So whenever the operating quantity current or voltage passes through the coil, it will generate a magnetic field or a magnetic flux. But as just now I told you, we need two fluxes in order to generate a torque. But here there is only one flux that is produced by this electromagnet. So somehow using this one flux, I have to convert it into two fluxes so that it can experience a torque. So we use shading ring. This ring here is shown as shading ring, and the magnified view of this pole is this one. So here if you see, it is something like this. This flux is phi 2 and the flux that passes through the shading ring is phi 1. Now what is the purpose of shading ring? It provides a phase lag in the flux, or it shifts the phase of the flux by a certain angle. That is, if phi 2 is this, phi 1 will lag phi 2 by a certain angle like this. By an angle, let us say theta. Then the currents, eddy currents that are produced, this will be I phi 1, I phi 2. They will also have an angle of theta. So this theta displacement is produced by the shading ring. So shading ring is nothing but a copper band which will produce a phase shift because it changes the length of the path that the flux has to travel. You can understand it in terms of optics. In optics, whenever we placed a glass slab, it caused refraction of the light or deviation from the parallel path. Why? because the length of the path that light has to travel in a glass slab is more as compared to the path that it travels in a air. Similarly here, the shading ring will cause change in the path or change in the length of the path that the flux has to travel in the shading ring as compared to when it travels through the electromagnet. So that is how we will generate two fluxes from a single flux by shaded pole construction. Why it is called a shaded pole? Because the poles of the electromagnet use shading ring, hence it is a shaded pole. Next is your watt hour meter construction. Now watt hour meter, watt into hour, that is power into time, is also energy meter. As you might have studied or you will study in the measurement systems, energy meter is constructed something like this. This is called as shunt magnet or E type of electromagnet. This is called as your series magnet or U type of electromagnet. So here we have two magnets which will generate two fluxes which will be displaced in space and time, and hence they will be able to produce a torque. Okay. So it is called as watt hour meter because energy meter employs the same construction to measure the energy. Just to give you a brief glimpse, how does it measures energy? Shunt magnet which will measure the voltage, series magnet will measure the current. So we will get power as Vi cos phi by virtue of shunt and series magnet. Then the time is recorded by number of revolutions of this disk. So into time will give me energy. Okay. So that is how energy meter records the energy. Even the earlier energy meters that were installed in your households, they used to have a rotating disk. The number of revolutions of the disk will indicate the energy that is being utilized in your house. Okay. Now, if you increase the current, then the torque will increase, then the acceleration will increase, and the operating time will reduce. So here operating time varies inversely with current. Okay. These are the most ideal type of characteristic for any overcurrent relay. The inverse characteristic because higher current should exist only for a short duration in a power system. Otherwise, it will cause a lot of heat and which will damage the power system. Now let us derive what is the torque produced by the induction disk type of relay. So let me say that phi 1 is phi m or phi sine omega t. Phi 2 is phi sine omega t plus theta because it leads the phi 1. Now the EMF that will be produced E1 will be directly proportional to d phi 1 by dt, and I phi 1 that will be produced will be proportional to E1 and hence proportional to d phi 1 by dt because current will be EMF by impedance. By similar logic, I phi 2 will be proportional to d phi 2 by dt. I phi 1 is proportional to phi cos omega t and it is proportional to phi cos omega t, omega phi omega t plus theta. Now the torque produced by interaction of I phi 1 with phi 2 will be opposite in nature to phi 1 and I phi 1 because in accordance with Lenz's law, induced EMF opposes the cause of induction. Hence the effect will be opposite of both. So net torque will be phi 1 I phi 2 minus phi 2 I phi 1. That is omega phi square sine omega t cos omega t plus theta minus omega phi square cos omega t sine omega t plus theta. Now if we combine these two terms, omega phi square then sine A cos B minus cos A sine B is sine of A minus B. That is minus sine theta. Now for maximum magnitude of torque, theta must be 90 degree because torque is proportional to sine theta. That is, if you somehow are able to produce a 90-degree phase shift between the two fluxes, then the torque produced on the disk will be maximum. If torque is maximum, then operating time will be minimum. That is, the relay will operate very fast. Is it fine? But the limitation is that shading ring cannot produce such a phase shift, or it cannot produce a 90-degree phase shift. It can only provide smaller values of phase shift between the two fluxes. So that is how torque is produced in the induction disk type of relay. Here you will have to remember that 90-degree phase shift is ideal case to produce the maximum amount of torque. Now there are two settings in an induction disk relay, which is a plug setting and a time setting. Now what is meant by plug setting is, if we change the number of turns, then MMF is equal to Ni. If MMF remains constant, then reducing the number of turns increases the current. If MMF is constant, then flux will be constant, due to which shape of characteristics remains same. So that is one way of changing the pickup current of a relay is by changing the number of turns. Then the characteristics will have the same shape, but just they will be shifted or they will be changed based on the plug setting. Hence we can change the current setting of the relay or pickup current of the relay by changing the number of turns. Hence it is called as plug setting. The other setting is called as time setting. Now what is meant by time setting? Suppose, as I told you, the relay will operate when the fixed contact is in touch with moving contact. This is my disk. Here is my moving contact. And here is my fixed contact. Now, to meet this, it has to travel by an angle of 90 degree. But somehow if I change the construction and if I change the distance or angular shift between the fixed and the moving contact, let us say from 90 degree to 45 degree, then operating time reduces. The closer the fixed and the moving contacts are, the faster they will be able to meet. So operating time of a relay can be changed by changing the separation between the fixed and the moving contact. That is called as time setting of the relay. Okay. So if you change the separation to half, then the time of operation will be reduced to half. Okay. So operating time is written as operating time with S is equal to 1 into S. Where S is equal to 1 signifies maximum separation. So S will always be less than or equal to 1. That is, suppose the maximum separation is 90 degree, then 45 degree will have a factor of S is equal to half. Okay. So S will always be less than or equal to 1. So operating time can be reduced by reducing the time setting of the relay. Here S is called as time multiplier setting or TMS of the relay. Now how will it affect the characteristics? The shape of characteristics will remain same. Just that operating time will be multiplied by a factor of S. Now suppose this is a characteristic for S is equal to 0.1. If you increase S, characteristics will shift upwards like this. And maximum will be when S is equal to 1. Okay. So the characteristics will retain the same shape, just they will be shifted upwards as the time multiplier setting increases. So these settings are available in the induction disk relay by changing the number of turns or by changing the relative separation between the fixed and the moving contacts. Next type of construction is called as induction cup type of relay. In induction cup type of relay, we actually have 4 electromagnets. Up to now we had 2 electromagnets. Now in machines we study that to produce a rotating magnetic field, at least we need two phases separated by 90 degree. So what we do here is, there will be 4 electromagnets arranged in this fashion. These two, the opposite ones, will be connected together. Okay, so A, B, C, D, A and C are connected together, B and D are also connected together, and they have a space displacement of 90 degree as well as phase shift of 90 degree, due to which they will produce a rotating magnetic field. Now a drag cup rotor is kept here. What is a cup rotor? It is a hollow type of rotor, due to which it has a lesser inertia, because in hollow cylinder the inertia is less as compared to your solid cylinder. So in case of hollow cylinder, the thing is that it has a lesser inertia, so acceleration, which is equal to torque by inertia, will be higher. So it can operate faster. Now when rotating magnetic field is produced, it will interact with the rotor and induce eddy currents in the rotor. And when the rotor will start carrying a certain current, then by Lorentz force law, whenever a current carrying conductor is kept in a magnetic field, it experiences a torque. So the drag cup rotor will experience a torque and it will start rotating. So the basic principle of operation of induction cup type of relay is the principle of induction motor. It starts rotating whenever a rotating magnetic field is generated in the relay. Okay, so that is your induction cup type of relay. It operates faster as compared to your induction disc type of relay. Now let us come to our first type of protection scheme, that is your overcurrent protection. Up to now we have seen the general categories, how to construct different type of relays. Now these constructions are used in different protection scheme. Like first is your overcurrent protection. Overcurrent protection implies that whenever the current is greater than some reference or the preset value, then relay will operate. Now as we have studied, whenever a fault occurs, mostly in the shunt type of fault like line to ground or double line to ground, the fault current is very high. And as the fault current is very high, so if we use a overcurrent type of relay, then it will be able to detect such a high current and isolate the faulty part. So that is the basic principle of overcurrent protection. And this reference current above which the relay is operate is called as pickup current. Okay, because operation of a relay means pickup. So the current at which the relay picks up or relay operates is called as your pickup current. Now the overcurrent relays are categorized into different categories based on their characteristic. What is a characteristic of a relay? It is a graph between the operating time versus the current at which the relay will operate. So first type of relay is definite time overcurrent relay. What is meant by definite time? That it operates in a constant time regardless of the amount of current. How? So whenever there will be a high current, it goes into saturation. Due to saturation, the torque that is being produced or the force that is being produced becomes constant. If the force or torque becomes constant, then the operating time will also become constant as acceleration is constant. So what are the characteristics? This is operating time, this is current. Characteristics are like this. Okay, so operating time is essentially constant. This current is called as pickup current. the minimum current above which the relay will operate. Okay, the benefit is that it will operate in a minimum time, but the disadvantage is that even for high values of current, the operating time will remain same. But we want higher current should exist only for a short duration and not for a long duration. So next type of relay is called as instantaneous overcurrent relay. Now do not think that instantaneous means it will operate instantly. No. Instantaneous implies that the relay does not have an additional time lag. That means intentionally there is no delay provided in the relay, so it will operate in a minimum possible time. That means I am not delaying the operation of relay. Whatever time the relay takes to rotate the disk and bring the moving contact and the fixed contact in touch with each other is the time of operation of the relay. Otherwise, usually to ensure that the circuit breaker operates in the transient region, we provide a certain delay in the relay, that is your intentional time lag. But that time lag is zero in case of instantaneous overcurrent relay. Next type of relay is called as inverse time overcurrent relay. Inverse time means operating time varies inversely with the current. So this type of relay must operate in the linear region of magnetizing characteristics because the torque must be proportional to the current, due to which acceleration is proportional to the current and time is inversely proportional to the current. Okay. So how will the characteristic look like if I plot on the same curve? They will be like this, hyperbolic. Okay, because operating time is inversely proportional to the current. So such type of characteristics are always desirable where higher amount of current will exist only for a shorter duration. So these are the three basic type of overcurrent relay. The next category of overcurrent relay is IDMT, that is inverse definite minimum time. So here two terms have been combined, inverse and definite time. That means this possesses the characteristic of both inverse time as well as definite time. How? If your current is less than 10 times the pickup current, then it operates as a inverse time. If your current is greater than 20 times the pickup current, it operates at a definite time overcurrent relay, and between 10 and 20 there is a transition region. So how does the characteristic look like? This is your pickup current. Initially it will be inverse, later on it will become constant. Okay, so here it is inverse, for higher values it is definite. Now why these sort of characteristics are desirable? Because for very high amount of fault current, the time of operation will become very low. That means it may operate for the transient type of fault. Now as I told you, based on time of operation or based on the time of fault, there are two categories. One is the transient, other is the sustained. The relay or the circuit breaker must always operate only for the sustained type of fault, not for temporary or the transient faults. Is it fine? That means there should be a minimum limit below which the operating time cannot go, so that if there is a fault or there is a transient fault like a magnetizing inrush current, the relay does not operate. It must wait. If the fault clears by itself, like inrush current will decay to zero by itself, then the relay must not operate. Hence, the operating time must have a certain minimum value which is provided by the definite characteristics. This is your IDMT type of relay. Next, to obtain more inverse type of characteristic, we go for very inverse. In very inverse type of overcurrent relay, the operating time varies directly proportional to 1 by I raised to power n minus 1, where n will be greater than 1. That means the characteristics are more inverse as compared to inverse time over current relay. So it will go below this. This is very inverse. Similarly, next is extremely inverse. Where operating time is proportional to 1 upon I raised to the power 3.5. So it is more inverse. So this is extremely inverse type. So what is the benefit with having a more and more inverse type of characteristic is that selectivity improves. That is, it will be able to select the faulty part more easily as compared to the other type of relay. That is why extremely inverse time over current relay will help in protecting against the overheating. Why? Because its operating time for a same value of current is least. Sorry, if we keep the same operating current, then it has the least operating time as compared to other relays. So it will act faster, and if the machine is getting overheated, it will be able to disconnect the machine faster than the rest of the relays. Hence it is used in protecting against overheating. This is also used for protection of alternators, transformers, cables, whichever are the expensive equipments in the power system. There we can use the extremely inverse time over current relay because it will operate faster. Okay, and since it has a better selectivity and discrimination, it is able to differentiate between the magnetizing inrush current and the fault current, which IDMT relay cannot. Okay, so that is the advantage of the extremely inverse type of overcurrent relay, that it has a better discrimination. Hence it operates for sustained type of fault and not for the transient faults. Now there are certain terms which are defined in conjunction with the overcurrent protection. First is your relay setting. Now usually overcurrent relays are used in conjunction with a current transformer. The role of current transformer is to step down the fault current. Okay, so if it steps down the fault current, then it can easily be sensed by the relay. Because relay is a low power device, it cannot operate at fault current, else it will get damaged. So what is the relay setting? Relay setting is the pickup current upon relay ROC current. So relay setting is equal to pickup current upon relay operating current. Okay, so usually the relay operating current is equal to I rated secondary. Okay, current transformer will be rated like 500 by 5 ampere. So usually relay operating current is 5 ampere. Otherwise, it will be given like 50% relay setting, which means pickup current will be 0.5 into relay operating current, that is 2.5 ampere. If relay setting is not given, you can by default assume it to be 100%. Okay, so if you are not given relay setting anywhere, then the rated current of the secondary side of current transformer is your pickup current. The next term that is defined with the relay or overcurrent relay is plug setting multiplier. Now this is the most important from numerical perspective. Plug setting multiplier is the IF secondary by I pickup. That is, suppose a fault current of 5000 ampere is there and we have a CT of 500 to 5 ampere. That means 5000 ampere will become 50 ampere on secondary side. Now this is divided by pickup current. Pickup current, let us say 50% relay setting, will be 2.5 ampere. So this 20 will be called as plug setting multiplier. So it expresses the fault current as a fraction of the per unit, as a fraction of the pickup current or we can say it converts the fault current into per unit value because it is dividing it by the pickup current. So it tells us how much current or how much is the fault current in comparison to the pickup current. So directly I can say if plug setting multiplier greater than 1, that means fault current is greater than pickup current, relay will operate. If plug setting multiplier is less than 1, then relay will not operate. Okay, so that is how your plug setting multiplier works. And the last is your time multiplier setting. As I told you, operating time is equal to operating time with S is equal to 1 multiplied by time multiplier setting. Okay, how to vary the time multiplier setting? By varying the separation between the fixed and the moving contact. So let me summarize what we covered in this lecture. We first saw induction disk type of relay. Okay, there we saw two construction, shaded pole and your watt hour meter. So here we saw we need two type of fluxes which are displaced in space and time so as to produce a torque. Then we saw induction cup type of relay which worked on the induction motor principle, hence operates faster. Then we saw overcurrent relays in different categories, definite time which works in saturation, instantaneous which works in a minimum time, inverse where operating time is inversely proportional to current, IDMT which combines definite and inverse, very inverse which is more inverse, and extremely inverse which has the highest inverse characteristic and it has the best selectivity and discrimination. Then we saw certain terms, plug setting multiplier, time multiplier setting and relay setting.
So my friend, if you want to join Unacademy, if you liked the lecture, if you like the content that you have just watched and you have decided that Unacademy is the right place for you and you want to learn with me, you want to learn from me, then don't hesitate because that is where we are conducting free classes every day that will boost your GATE rank. So if you decide to take subscription, click on GATE and ESE, click on get subscription. After this, you can choose the plan that you want to opt for. The final year and dropper can take 1 year plan. Second and the third year can take 2 year plan. But don't forget to use the code Ankit ESE. This will give you 10% off as well as it will bring you under my guidance. And as you can see, the prices are really affordable, my friend. It is much less than any other institute can offer you. And that is why I keep repeating, Unacademy is not an academy. It is a revolution, it is a feeling. You can make the payment by credit, debit card, EMI, net banking. Also, EMI is available on debit card but for HDFC debit card and Bajaj Finserv debit card. So if you are from a weak financial background, you can pay the amount in installments. But only use the code Ankit ESE. And my friend, these are some videos where I have told how to study, how to get the best rank in GATE, and these videos will really help you in cracking GATE. So make sure that you watch each and every one of them. And my friend, these are our other channels, like for mechanical we have, for civil also we have, for computer science we have for SSC, JE, all branches, electrical, mechanical, civil. And on this channel we have the previous year question video solution, that too free of cost. And many more channels will be coming very soon for you guys. So be a part of our YouTube family and you can take the benefit of all the free content that we are bringing.